All right, so welcome back everybody. My name's Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. So today's episode is going to be all about cabinets. Now I will let you know I'm shooting this intro for the second time. I actually did most of this cabinet assembly yesterday, but it echoed so bad in here without this microphone. I didn't realize how bad it was until I started editing. So I'm back out here today shooting an intro. So the rest of this video that you watch, I apologize for some of the audio, although I think you can get the point and see the cabinet assembly. All right, so if you're new to this channel, maybe you're here just to watch assembly of a certain type of cabinet, I will put down in the video description tags to where the cabinet assembly is, because we're gonna do 3 different types on this video. If you're some of our regular viewers, or if you'd like to stick around, I'm gonna spend the first few minutes talking about who we went with, why we went with them, how much we paid, the service we got, just the overall experience. Then we'll jump into putting some of these cabinets together. So this is gonna wind up being a relatively long video. I decided to just do it all in one instead of breaking it up into a bunch of different assembly videos. All right, so we chose to go with Lily Cabinets. They're an online cabinet company. And in today's world, that's just not crazy anymore to think that you can get on there, design your kitchen cabinets, and have them shipped right to your door. That's exactly what happened. So we found out about Lily through a friend of ours. They use them all the time, had good luck. So we started checking around. The prices looked good, but we ultimately chose to go with Lily for 3 different reasons. One, yeah, the price looked great, especially compared to like big box stores. 2, they showed the cabinets were available and could ship out in like 3 to 4 weeks. We received ours in that time frame. That's saying a lot nowadays, because right now COVID has been impacting the building industry like crazy and you can hardly find anything. It's been just a struggle and a nightmare to build this house right here and find the products that we needed. So availability was big to us. And probably the 3rd reason that we decided to go with Lily Cabinets, and my biggest reason, was every single thing that you see for cabinets, it's either, depending on what style you go with, it's either solid wood, plywood, birch, poplar. There is no MDF, no particle board. I cannot stand cheaply built cabinets like you see at a lot of the big box stores that are made out of that particle board. That stuff gets wet, it disintegrates, it falls to pieces on you, it chips easy. I just do not like that product for a cabinet, so I wanted to at least have something with real wood, plywood, some sort of solid wood in it. All their cabinets offer that. So real quick, the good and the bad. How was my experience? We'll talk about the assembly experience at the end of this video, but I can tell you up front, one thing that Lily offers that's another big selling point is they do free 3D rendering. So you send in your plans, work with a designer, all for free by the way, and they'll send you back an actual 3D rendering to where you can kind of click and walk around in your kitchen with the different style cabinets and layouts. Thought that was pretty cool. I will say during that process, had to really pay attention. We sent in architectural plans. Our architect, we had already paid to do our kitchen layout, size cabinets, everything. And there was a few different times whenever we got back our quote or an invoice that we could accept and purchase, that some of the cabinets were not correct. And there is a disclaimer down there that says you are responsible for what you order. So you have to pay real close attention to make for sure you're getting the exact size cabinets to fit your area. I will say they do give you a nice layout with the cabinet measurements. So you can run out here with your tape measure real quick, look in your home, or you can compare them to your plans if your house isn't built yet, and make sure they fit. But watch that. There was a couple different times that if I had to purchase the invoice that was sent to me, I would have got 2 or 3 different wrong style cabinets. But ultimately, it seems like we've got everything worked out correctly. The other issue that I've had, and you'll see more toward the end of this video, the cabinets have been great. I'm not completely done putting them all together. They were packaged well, there's been no scratches, no chips, no nothing, but the hardware has been a significant issue. Out of all the cabinets I put together, only one had the correct brackets, correct number of screws, things like that. Fortunately for me, I keep a big stash of miscellaneous screws and things like that out in my shop, and I've been able to kind of piece this together, although it looks like there's for sure one cabinet that I am not going to be able to put together until I get some brackets in. That's been the biggest issue that I've seen thus far, quality control for the small nuts and bolts, the materials. But again, the cabinets, everything looks perfectly fine. So there's been a couple of gripes, but then there's been a lot of bonus and good selling points too. Our whole kitchen package, which you're gonna see me install in an upcoming episode, all the cabinets, everything, I think we paid $4,500 or $4,700 shipped to us. That's very hard to beat for real wood cabinets or solid wood in some area type cabinets. Again, they offer many different styles. A builder grade cabinet like we went with, all the way up to solid wood, everything, soft close hinges, you name it. We just decided to go with a builder grade because this was the style and color that my wife really wanted to go with to match the floors for the house, the paint color, and for a tongue and groove pine ceiling that we're gonna do, she wanted a lighter wood cabinet, and this fit the bill perfectly. Also, something else to keep in mind with them, this was another reason I went with this. They offer free shipping over $2,500 for unassembled cabinets, flat packs, just like I'm about to show you back here behind me. That was a big selling point. I was set I was going to get fully assembled cabinets, which costs money, but I found out that you have to be over $5,000 to get fully assembled cabinets. Now, again, our kitchen cabinet's around $4,500. I didn't want to just throw $500 worth of stuff on there to get free shipping. The assembly fee was about $1,000, just under, but the assembly fee does not count toward the free shipping. So I was kind of caught off guard. Either I had to buy a higher end cabinet to get free assembled shipping, and it would have been $2,500 more than what we currently have, or I could assemble them myself. Obviously, I chose to do that. Overall, it's looking like it's going to take me about a day and a half to 2 days to assemble every cabinet that I got. That's including recording time, and I save right at $1,000. $500 a day for work sounds pretty good to me. I don't regret the assembly process at all in saving that money. All right, excuse the mess, but this is how they come. Flat packed, just small boxes, just like that right there. So if y'all watched one of my previous videos, you've seen where I unloaded a semi and brought all this stuff in. And here's some of the cabinets that I have already been putting together, so you can get a rough idea. Really good looking cabinets, nice and solid. Like I said, none of that particle board stuff. I also got a big box of trim pieces that was included in that price, a big old like 4x8 sheet of paneling to put across our back bar top to really make sure all the cabinets have a nice even look. We've got these gigantic Lazy Susans that you're about to watch me build in this video. So quite a bit of cabinets for the price. All right, so there's the good and the bad. Let's start putting these cabinets together. I'll show you the experiences that I had with the assembly. Some issues, most of the stuff went together great. So check this out right here. And I will say that Lillian's working with me, gonna get me the screws and brackets sent out, so that portion is gonna be taken care of. I'll just have 1 or 2 cabinets that I can't put together for a few days until that hardware package arrives. Enjoy the video. Now, every cabinet comes with 1-page instructions. They're more than adequate to show what to do here. None of this is rocket science. If you've got some basic tools, you can make this happen. All right, so let's go over some basic tools. You'll need a drill. I'm using an impact, probably not recommended for putting these tiny screws in, but it has a variable speed trigger and multiple settings to turn down the torque so I don't strip these screws out. You're also going to want some sort of a mallet to put some of these pieces together. 95% of this I've been able to do by hand. Every now and then you'll get a piece that you need to, well, persuade in with a rubber mallet. Probably an orange type of mallet, a non-marking one, would be even better for this process. And wood glue, you absolutely want to put this together with a wood glue. If you look at the size screws that come in these packs, they're tiny. Wood glue is typically stronger than the wood itself, nails, screws, anything like that. So the way I look at these brackets is they hold this stuff together until this glue sets up tonight, tomorrow, something like that. But definitely don't skip this step right here. All right, thus far I have found this is all the tools that I need. I would recommend a magnetic bit. I'm not running one and I've been doing okay, but it really does help to put a tiny screw on a magnetic bit and be able to put it in kind of hands-free. All right, so all the cabinets I have built thus far, you start with the doors themselves. If you'll notice, there is some routed grooves all the way around this door frame for these pieces to slide in. So I like to go ahead and put a small run of wood glue down the longest sides, because that's typically where you start. Now on this style, here's the crazy thing. I have seen 3 different style mounting brackets thus far. I guess it's just all in the size of the cabinet and how it needs to go together. But for this style right here, they already have pre-installed brackets, and then some come in a bag. These actually slide underneath and lock in is what they do. And these will go over here on this frame. If you notice, they already pre-drill the frame with some small holes for these brackets to line up just like that, and then you'll shoot those tiny screws in. So whenever you flip this piece right here and slide it down into that groove that now has the wood glue in it, everything kind of snaps in place. I'll try to show you another cabinet that has a completely different style bracket. Now, one other thing to note, one other issue I have had with assembly, these pre-drilled holes that they have set up for you, they're critical since these are already mounted. Otherwise, you'd have to spend all day long measuring, trying to get everything to match up perfectly. My last cabinet I just installed had multiple holes everywhere in all the different locations. It was like somebody at the factory maybe was struggling with a jig or a mount to figure out exactly where to put the holes. So I had to do a lot of guessing on which holes to install the bracket in to make sure everything lined up. But I have only seen that on one of these. Everything else has just been the 2 holes as it should be. Also on one of these, the bracket was off by almost an inch and I had to move over. So there has been some aggravation, I guess we can say, and some extra assembly on my part. All right, so I'm just going to install these brackets, and those holes I just showed you, there's 3 per side, and then we can actually slide these side pieces in and lock them down to this. So let me go ahead and pop all these brackets in real quick. All right, so now it's time to install the side pieces. You'll notice one side has been routed down. That would be the back side. And then one side is full width right here. That's what actually goes down in this groove. So we'll see if all the brackets line up here and just slide these over. All right, that side fits perfectly. Okay, so with the rubber mallet, I have seated this down to where I can put a screw through both brackets, and I've made sure that in this routed out piece right here, the plywood has went all the way down into it to make contact with that wood glue. So now you just take one of these tiny screws that are provided and go right through this single hole, and that locks both brackets together. Okay, here it is, nice and finished, everything fitting properly. It's also a good time to check, see if you have any wood glue coming out, just wipe that up. I'm gonna put the other side on, it goes on the same exact way. Okay, so now it's time to put on the top and bottom. They're exactly the same, but if you notice these grooves that run all the way around, yet again, everything goes together, joins together with routed out grooves. So you'll take a bottom or top. They're the ones that's gonna have this wood lip here. This is not a shelf. Shelves are solid. You'll also notice it is the exterior color on the other side. That goes to the outside. So we'll install the bottom one this way and the top one that way. Once again, anytime you have a routed out groove like this, put a bead of wood glue in it. And then this just slides in all the grooves. All right, now it's time to install the entire back. Once again, just run a bead of wood glue all the way around the edges. Now, if you'll notice on the back, it has extra reinforcement all around. That goes to the outside, and that reinforcement will be a good place to shoot screws through and mount this later on. And you'll notice the other side is the finished side. You want that on the inside of your cabinet, so when you open it up, it looks nice and finished. Now you can slide this all the way in from the end. I have found it drops in relatively easy. Just like that. Now you'll see that it already comes pre-drilled right here. And this is for some coarse drywall screws, but wood screws. A lot of people use them for wood. Make sure everything is nice and flush. All right, so I just flipped the cabinet over and I was gonna install the 3 locking screws on these back brackets, but yet again, I've run into another problem with hardware. I keep all my hardware in a nice neat pile so nothing can fall off or go anywhere. And I'm missing 3 screws. So now I gotta head back to the shop and pray that I've got some tiny little screws to finish this up. The whole process has went together great. Everything's been beautiful. It's just been a nightmare of an issue with hardware. That's the only issue. I would recommend, if they wind up watching this video, always send extra hardware with these, even if it's got to cost a few extra dollars on the overall package of the cabinets. My goodness, you know, I would gladly pay an extra couple dollars for a few extra brackets or screws to not have to go through problems like this. Okay, so I found a few small screws in my shop that work perfect for this. Thank goodness, that way I can keep moving forward. So the cabinet's pretty well complete at this point, with the exception of check your doors. Looks like I might need to adjust a hinge on these just a little to get my doors to close perfectly. This is the first one I've actually had to do that on. And if you want to, you can go ahead and install your shelves. I'm not gonna do that until later, once we actually get everything up on the wall. So it comes with these little plastic shelf brackets. They're very straightforward. They just snap right in all these pre-drilled holes, and then you stick your shelf on that. So there's not much to really explain there. And then the last thing that you'll do, it comes with these little door bumpers. Just kind of stick them up here in the corner, so whenever you close these doors, they have something nice to actually close against. All right, so we're gonna put together a base cabinet and this clip right here. And this one also has a drawer, so we'll put our first drawer together as well. But it's real straightforward. Again, single page instructions, front and back. Take your front trim ring where your doors attach, flip it over until you got those, you know, router grooves ready to go. And forward to this, we're gonna put the 2 sides on first, which is what we've done on every single one up to this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and run 2 small thin beads of wood glue down the sides. Let's put it together. All right, so we'll take our angle brackets, and there's pre-drilled holes right here where these brackets go, like with all the other cabinets. So I'm gonna go ahead and set these brackets up over those holes and shoot a couple of screws down into these brackets to hold it. That way when we put our sides in and roll them up in together, we can quickly shoot some screws in so they don't want to fall back down on the table. We'll take our side pieces, and they have the notch out for the toe kick area. So obviously that'll go down to the bottom, not the top up here where the drawer will go in. And just like with the other cabinets, the routed edge takes the back piece. It's the big, thick, unrouted edge that you want to put down in this larger routed groove here on this front trim ring. And this is a good time to go ahead and put our toe kick in as well. As you can see, it's got the cabinet color side that needs to go to the outside, and then the interior cabinet color obviously goes to the interior. So it just fits right down here like a toe kick should. And this one already comes, it's gonna be very hard to see in the camera, with tiny pre-drilled holes. So we'll go ahead and put a couple of angle brackets there, and then that'll make it easier to hold up and shoot in down here. All right, so now it's time to put the bottom in. It may be hard to see on the camera over there, but there is another routed groove that goes all the way around. We'll go ahead and put a bead of wood glue in that and slide the bottom in. Now I've already put one of these together, and I spent several minutes trying to figure out why this piece of wood right here would not go all the way down and sit flush. Turns out it's not supposed to. When you put your back on, it has a routed groove in it that slides and locks over this entire piece right here. So you actually do want it to stick up, about 1/4 of an inch it looks like. Just make sure the bottom locks all the way down into the groove in the bottom, you're good to go. Okay, now we'll go ahead and put our back on. Here's that groove I was just telling you about that has to go over this piece. So it's got a certain direction this needs to go. Now the instructions keep showing to slide these backs in on every cabinet. I find that putting them in like this works just fine and dropping them down. This keeps from smushing all your glue back out too. Now once you have everything snapped together as good as can be, we have to flip this over and put more brackets inside. We'll go ahead and put these provided wood screws in these 3 pre-drilled holes and screw down into the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to gently flip this over because keep in mind there's nothing holding the sides to the back right now. That's what we're about to attach. But I need to be able to get inside to access that. Now I just put together one of these cabinets and there was pre-drilled holes for these little brackets right here to go on the inside. They're missing on this one, but that shouldn't be much of a problem. If you take a look at the diagram, it gives you rough locations to where those little brackets need to go. So we should be able to figure that out. Plus, I know it's gonna be hard to see on camera, these pre-drilled holes back here are where the drawer slides actually go into. So we just want to avoid that we don't have a bracket in that area. So we'll do one above, one below like the plans show, and then one all the way down in the corner to tie these walls, side walls and back walls together. Alright, so now we're going to take these plastic corner braces that it comes with. As you can see, it's got little lips right here. Those catch on the wood as you push down, and it's got a screw right here in each corner that we will actually attach this to. Alright, so now it's time to put the drawer slides in, and it comes with these little brackets that mount in these holes back here. So here's one of the drawer slides. I have found it easier just to take this bracket, go ahead and slide that on, put it in those holes, and let's get the other one ready. Same thing, pop that little piece on. Now obviously you want the wheels on the bottom side for the permanent mount brackets because the drawer will be sitting on top of those wheels and riding in and out. There's already a pre-drilled hole right here in the side, so we'll put a screw in that. And then those 2 plastic brackets in the back have holes for 2 screws. All right, so now it's time to build our drawer that will run in on those slides that we just installed. So it's like a dovetail construction here. Everything will snap together. All you need is wood glue and a rubber mallet for this step. So the groove, I'll start with the grooves on the drawer on this side. Just put a dab of glue in each one of them. We'll start with one of these shorter pieces. You see we have 2 short sides and 1 long back. So this just slides right in there and just tap it right in. All right, so we'll take the back piece now and put it in, and then this is where we're going to stop so we can slide the bottom into this before we put the final piece on. One other thing to note, there is 1 routed out groove right here. You have to make sure you put all these with that groove matching up all the way around so your bottom will slide in. All right, so now we'll take the final piece and lock everything together. All right, so now we'll flip the drawer over, take our 2 drawer slides, stick them right here on the bottom with the wheel at the back. and then you'll shoot 3 screws in the very bottom. That's it. These are ready to tie in. Okay, now our drawer is ready to install. All right, so one of the last things to install is our door hinges. Like I say, some of these come with the door hinges already installed, some do not. But it doesn't take long to install these. So we'll pop these hinges in. There's already pre-drilled holes, so it's a nice, quick, easy process. All right, it's going to be very hard to see on camera, but there's already pre-drilled holes for these hinges. So we'll go ahead and mount one of these doors. All right, now for the largest cabinet that I have, and probably the most assembly. It's a corner cabinet that's called a Lazy Susan. It's a full 36-inch cabinet, but it has small fold-out accordion type doors up front. Looks like there's not much room there, but there's a ton of room inside these cabinets right here. They fill out a big corner well before your next run of cabinets take off. So I'll try not to drag this out very long. I'm sure this video is getting long by now with all the assembly, but let's go ahead and put this together. All right, so you'll start out with your front 2 door trim pieces. They obviously have to go at an angle like this for a corner fitting cabinet. As you can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't, there's pre-drilled holes on the back side to where the screw will go in this direction, and then there is tiny pre-drilled holes up here to where that screw will come through. But we need to lock both of these together just like this. All right, so now as you can see, we have grooves, those routed grooves all the way around for our pieces to fit together. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill the 2 side pieces because that's the first pieces that we have to do. Put a little bit of glue here and attach the brackets to where there is pre-drilled holes on both sides. That's shown in the instructions. Now's the time to go ahead and assemble those. It'll be much easier to do since I'm doing this by myself, and then I'll have 2 pieces that are loose in the air. That's not the time to put the brackets on. Let's do them now. All right, now we'll take our side pieces, which is easy to see because they've got the routed edges for the bottom to go in, and most importantly, the notch for the toe kick. And it's best to do this upside down because I have a nice flat working surface here, and it keeps everything level. If I try to do it the other direction, I would have to be holding this piece up in the air because it wouldn't be touching the table right here for several inches. All right, now I'll just repeat the same process on this side right here. Now I've already assembled one of these, so there's something I found out that was a trick to help me out since I'm working by myself. These pieces right here are called for in the instructions to be put together much later. This is the actual toe kick portion that goes underneath this space right here. But you really need this to help support this bottom piece that I'm about to put in if you don't have a second set of hands. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this together, and I would advise you to do the same. All right, so it comes pre-drilled on one side to accept a couple of these wood screws, and it just screws right into this other piece. Obviously you wanna do your color side out for the toe kick. So there, it's just that simple. Screw those 2 pieces together. And the reason why that's so important is I'm now gonna put this piece on the table to be my support to hold this up to the perfect height to where I need this bottom piece to go. All right, so if I take this piece out and just put it on the table, it now becomes a prop and a support, the perfect height for me to kind of work all this together right here. Now I'm going to glue these pieces, but I need to kind of go ahead and get everything fitting together properly, so when it comes time to glue, I'm not playing around. And if you'll notice, I have pre-drilled holes all the way around on the edge of this bottom piece. That's for this provided blocking. We'll actually put that underneath, screw that in, so whenever you put on your sides, they can screw into this blocking as well. It's kind of set up for almost like 6 screws is what I've been putting in it. That may be a bit overkill, but 2 from the top, 2 from inside into this outside piece, and then the outside piece is also pre-drilled to screw into this. So you can screw it 6 different ways to really lock all this together. These are critical components, it looks like. And honestly, now's the time to go ahead and install those. So I like to go ahead and loosely put me a couple screws in there. And then, for example, I'll put this over where these pre-drilled factory holes are. Now that piece of blocking's ready, and I'll just continue to do the same thing all the way around. All right, so I've got all my blocking in. I'm going to remove this piece gently since I have everything kind of set up for it. I'm going to put wood glue in this groove all the way around and then put everything together with screws. All right, it's going to be hard to see on camera, but there's already some factory pre-drilled holes right out here to attach right into that bottom piece. This goes right in that blocking that we just installed. All right, so the instructions tell you to go ahead and put the big old very thick shelf in here now. And I did that on the last one and I regretted doing it. It was in the way, it was flopping around, and it made this extremely heavy to lift up and down. You can still put the top in from the top before the final step. So there's no point in putting it in right now. Otherwise it just makes things very difficult. So the last piece is this curved piece right here. And the groove will actually go to the top for a brace that's going in. I'm going to run a little bit of wood glue on either side. You slide this in from the inside right here, and then screw it in with all these factory pre-drilled holes. All right, so now's a good time to tip this over and install that toe kick that we made just a little while ago. All right, just put these brackets where the pre-drilled holes are. All right, so now this is the point that I recommend installing the shelf. All right, it's going to be very difficult for me to show you, but in these notchouts right here, you can see where they have pre-drilled and marked 4 holes, top and bottom, for these hinges. So you'll tighten the hinges up there, and then these are adjustable hinges that you can adjust the door in and out and up and down to make sure it closes properly. It's just too dark to record this process. All right, well, we're losing light quick. All that's really left at this point, there is 2 pre-drilled holes. You put a magnet right here inside the door. You close the door and figure out exactly where you want to mount this little plate that goes to the magnet. So once you close the door itself, it's magnetized, holds it, doesn't flop around. So I'll try to turn the brightness up in my editing software. It's just too late in the day and dark. But both the Lazy Susans are now complete, ready to go. And it's going to be about impossible to see all the cabinets over here, but we'll show them off in the next cabinet episode. Yeah, way too dark. We got quite a few done. There is just a few packages left. These should all be relatively easy cabinets to take care of. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up before it gets too dark. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it went long. I thought about doing separate videos, but I said, let's just go ahead and do all the main cabinets in this one, in case that's what you're here and curious about. So I guess final thoughts. Would I order from Lillian Cabinets again? I think I would. I still feel like I got a really good quality cabinet. The shipping was, well, it was free and it was quick. That says a lot nowadays. So for the money, I feel like I got my money's worth. The only thing I wish would be improved is quality control. Out of every single cabinet I've installed today, only one had the correct amount of screws, brackets, and everything else that I needed. Luckily, I had everything I needed out in the shop thus far, minus a few brackets, which they are going to mail out to me. I've already spoke with Lillian Cabinets, and they are going to make it right. They are going to send the hardware and screws out. So I guess that's just kind of a risk that you take there, but quality control really needs to improve. But again, as far as the quality of the wood in cabinets, I think I got a really good deal. So continue watching if you want to. We'll install these in a couple of upcoming episodes. You can see them in the daylight. You can see the total number of cabinets. I think I got an excellent deal for an entire kitchen of no MDF, no particle board cabinets, actual plywood and real wood in places for $4,500, $4,700. I'd have to go back and look at the invoice. That's hard to beat, especially nowadays. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.